I'm deleting thousands of listings across multiple stores. And the reason why might surprise you. So if you follow my sports cards channel, you see that I did delete 3,000 listings of sports card stuff because I want to consolidate and create a new channel, or a new store, I mean, for just exclusively for sports cards. And the reason you would do this is because it helps, because it's good. Why is it good? Because you're going to get better listings. If you do kind of like variation niche listings, you're going to get more orders from single buyers, so multi-order shipments. It's just going to, what I've noticed from doing postcard only stores is that people buy more multi-stuff. They'll buy more postcards in one order, and that's awesome. Those kind of buyers are really great. I think there's also an SEO element to it where if you're someone searching for a eBay store that sells cards, if you name it right and if you focus on that, it'll help it. I also think that when you do variation, so like a huge driver of page view traffic is non-search related items. So when you go to your store and they go to a listing and they see at the bottom of the listing like more listings from this seller, if they're in the same category of what they're looking at, they're more likely to go to those and more likely to buy more stuff from you. I also have this crazy idea that I can sell an eBay store, which I think is possible. I think if you have an eBay store, like one of my postcard stores with 60,000 listings on there, I think I could sell that. I have no clue what I could sell it for. Probably that's a better question, is can you make money off of it? I think I'd want to sell it for like probably $30,000. I think is what I have to sell it for to make it make sense, to make it like be better than just running it for a few years. But that's kind of not the point. The point is, why am I deleting all of these listings? Well, my second postcard store, I've got 4 at this point now. 3 of them are full. The second one just hit its 1-year birthday. Congratulations, postcard seller 1 or whatever the heck it's called. You're a year old. So I pulled, and it's got conveniently 6 months of listing every day, quote unquote, listing once a week, twice a week, 5 times a week, whatever it was. Listing regularly, sales. And then 6 months of not listing on a regular basis, sales. And the result, when I tracked the monthly sales data of what happened when I listed things on a regular basis versus not listing things at all and just letting the store stagnate, that's not the right word, but for dramatic effect I'll say stagnate, is gonna really surprise you. Guess how much less money per day the store made when I stopped listing on it. For some people, this is common sense. Like if you were to ask me, which is better, listing on a store on a regular basis or not listing at all, I would say, listing more on a regular basis. But downloading the data, and I can do another video on this, it'll go on my hard e-commerce channel. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. If you want to know how to do this, I'll show you how to do it. It's very simple. I just visualize the data in ChatGPT. Normally, ChatGPT is getting so good. Normally, I would write my own program and then visualize it that way, but you can just drop the CSV files in ChatGPT and then ask it certain questions, and it'll tell you what you want to know, and it'll visualize what you want to know. I'm looking at mine right now. I pulled it up, and so it shows me daily earnings before and after March 15th. That's going to be the day when I started the new store. It also is going to show me sales by month. And so somewhere like March is kind of where it falls off. I've got 3, I'll post these graphs in the video. I'm going to do a rare thing, and I'm going to do minimal editing in this video. And I'll just show you. The store made about $9,000 in its first year. And that includes the cost of postcards. So basically, it made $18,000 in total earnings, but I spent about $9,000 to buy postcards. So it made about $9,000 profit. That's like the simple gist of it. And it'll probably go on to make about, if I didn't touch it, it would go on to make about maybe another $8,000 a year for the next few years. So it's a pretty simple thing to understand. You spend $9,000 to list all these postcards to make $8 or $9,000 a year. We'll see how long it works for. Why I say if I didn't touch it, it would do that is because I am going to touch it. What I'm doing is deleting listings for the sake of listing more things. Remember when I asked you, like, how much do you think the immediate decline was after you list things? There's like a week or two of really high sales because the stuff is fresh. So after my listings were no longer fresh, what do you think the drop-off was? In terms of profit, I didn't have it figure out what the revenue was. I just had to figure out what profit was, and probably I should have had it figure out revenue just because going forward, the costs to run the store is going to be minimal. It's going to be $75 a month basically for the store account. That's already taken into here, but just let me get to the point I want to talk about. Before March 15th, the profit per day with this full postcard store, and this includes all the days leading up to it, so it's not perfect data, but it gives a really good point, was $58.43. $58.43 is not bad for one store that you only have to work about. So yeah, that's $350 a week, working minimal hours. Most of it is all automated. I'm just basically, all I'm doing is loading postcards into a scanner. After the listings were after the store had no fresh listings. So here's another caveat. My theory is that it's not just the fresh listings that are selling more. The freshness of a store, that's a metric we're going to make up right now. A fresh store is a store that has any fresh listings. A fresh store will bring in more traffic to its non-fresh listings. I think that's true. I think that's the case. I've seen this anecdotally my whole life. But so $58.43 was what it was when it was fresh. Guess what it was? I'm going to give you a few seconds. Guess what it fell to after it had no more fresh listings? Guess. And if someone gets it right, I'll tell you, good job. So, after you stop listing in a store, we know there are serious effects to its search juice, how much search juice it creates, how many buyers it will serve your ads to. Serve your listings to. I am paying for ads. That's also taken into account with these numbers. Maybe in the future I'll do an experiment where I don't pay for ads, but for the time being, I'm just not convinced that it's ever a good idea not to pay for ads. So after you stop listing things, it goes from, my store went from $58.43 down to $27.40 a day. So down from $350, $400 profit a week down to $225, around there profit a week. If you've followed my channels, I've been saying about that much, but now I actually have hard information. That's what's happening. What's really crazy is that it's not the failures, the bad listings are not equally distributed across my whole store. So I have everything. As you see me picking these postcards, like right now, I have to go pick 748. 748 is a SKU in my system that represents approximately 55 to 65 postcards. I don't have an exact number. I'm just grabbing them. It's not very exact, but it's close enough and it works. It hasn't caused problems. So I said, wow, that's crazy. That's a huge drop off. I wonder if there's like SKUs that are dropping off more than others. And part of that could be the good postcards sold. Part of that could be that I bought it from a buyer, or I bought it from a seller rather, who sold me crap. That's possible too. All right, that's the first store done. So I say, ChatGPT, here's all my you have to give it 2 reports. And again, I can make a video on how I did this. It's all saved in a chat. I should rename this chat something that makes more sense. Right now it's called like Geo Search. This is my problem with ChatGPT. I will start asking it things and then get like ADHD brain. I'll go crazy, you know, and start going down other rabbit holes. So I started off asking about using AI for generated copy based on search query for Google, if that's possible. Like how does Google's AI pick stuff, and can I imitate that? So it's called something stupid, and I should rename it to something that makes sense. So I ask it, like, give me a list of, it's the transaction report and the order earnings report. There you go. I give it those 2. You go through stuff. It qualifies the SKUs. It says, okay, certain SKUs, certain things. It's a whole bunch of rigmarole because obviously when you work with ChatGPT, it's kind of dumb. I mean, AI is so smart, but also so stupid. And so here's 20 minutes of me just like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. And finally we get to where it's showing me order earnings by index card. What do you think? So let's say there's, I don't know, you do the math, 800 SKUs in a store around there. The store has about 60,000 listings, so 1,200 to 1,000 SKUs probably. Guess what the most profitable SKU was, and guess what the average revenue per SKU was. Meanwhile, yeah, so I was amazed by this. I was amazed. I think you'll be amazed at how, I mean, in a sense, it's what you'd think, and in a sense, it's not at all what you'd think. I got to get my other postcards. Excuse me. We're going to 1274 now. So my most profitable SKU across the entire store in 1 year only made $99 profit. Whoa. That was crazy. I was surprised by that. 1274. I would have thought that some of these postcards, like, you think you'd hit a hot streak. I don't know, maybe that's just me, like, really believing that everything is possible in chaos, but you think it'd hit a hot streak. You know, I mean, maybe that is a hot streak. Who knows? I don't know how really to qualify these things yet. The average revenue, this is a really crazy one. So I did a distribution of SKU revenue across all SKUs, and did this take into account? Let me see. It did. So there's gaps in my SKU sequence. I had to take those out, but once I did, the most profitable SKU was 1567, and it earned me $95.39 across the whole store. That was amazing to me. But more amazing, the average SKU only made $10.04. So for every 60 postcards I buy, it's making me about $10. Whoa. That's crazy. I mean, again, these are giving me good numbers to what I can pay. And I mean, technically I paid about like maybe $120 in Google Cloud costs and ChatGPT API usage, but whatever. Okay, we'll just say $10. More importantly, though, 439 SKUs, no index cards, sold nothing over the entire year. That's crazy. That is crazy. And like, you're thinking, oh, well, is it a gradual decline? No, it's not a gradual decline. It went from $50 some a month down to $27 a month and stayed there. That consistency is remarkable. 1274. So that's why I'm deleting listings. I'm taking these listings that have sold. If I really wanted to get fancy about it, I'd figure out some way to figure out what SKUs had the fewest views. Because in the back of my mind, there's a little voice saying, well, you don't know if next year it's going to be flipped around, and maybe the SKUs that are not profitable are profitable. I don't really believe that, but I know it's possible. And so if I really was smart, if I figured out how to do this, and maybe I will in the next iteration of me doing this, I'd figure out what has the fewest views and use that as a metric for ranking what postcards to take away. Because I'm not going to delete 438, that's like 30,000 postcards. I'm not going to take those all down. But I am going to take down about 1,000 postcards per store. Because when I was writing my program that lists all these postcards, I had the foresight to add a function in it that allows me to schedule postcard listings too. And I think on eBay you can only schedule them up to 30 days. They say 60 days, but in my testing and my experience, it's only 30 days. I think that's an error that they have on their part. But 30 days out, schedule postcards and see like, hey, if I list 10 postcards a day, or if I list, 15 postcards a day, and every month I'm uploading a new CSV file that has these new postcards in there, is that going to freshen up my store? Because I think it might. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. Man, that looks so peaceful. I think it might. I will follow up with the big results on this channel. But if you want the nitty gritty, you're going to have to tell me you want it. And you're going to have to convince me to make a new channel where I go over just like, maybe I'll call it Blake Can't Code, because I can't code that well, but I can solve problems pretty well. And this is a problem I had, and I think it's a problem that most people have. They want to know, how can I make more money on eBay? And having this access to information is one way of doing it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and tell me, what's your theory on how to get the most sales from eBay? How to make the most money? Do you have any rules you follow? Any just tricks of the trade? I'd love to hear them. If you're new, subscribe. If you're not new, the support is really appreciated. I'll see you guys later.